America's mayor alive, and we still have Brown behind us because we still think it probably is the predominant story and a perplexing one at that, right? Perplexing because I don't know that any of us, in fact, I don't know that any of us at all in any way uh, thought that this was going to come down to what appears to be disgruntled student from Portugal who went to Brown 26 years ago or so. Spent time in Portugal, not at Brown, but spent time in Portugal studying with Professor Loreo. I should get the right pronunciation of that. It's almost Italian, but and then came here and shot and killed these two wonderful young people with an unbelievable futures, and shot a number of other people at Brown, the motive for which, at best, we can speculate about. At best, we can speculate about. And then got himself off to Brookline, Massachusetts, and went up to the house of the professor and shot and killed him. Some guy from Portugal who became an illegal resident in 2017, but studied for probably a year at Brown at that, and but was registered there for about 2 or 3 years. All the reasons are now being sorted out, and but it does show you that crimes are usually solved by logic, except for the times they're not. Which means logic, as most good lawyers and investigators will tell you, dictates the answer about 80% of the time. And it's all you can rely on when you don't have anything else. But the minute you have something else, you better start looking at it and taking care of it. What do you have, Ted?
This is just some video of the police announcing the arrest and description.
That individual was identified as Claudio Neves Valenti, date of birth, and he was a 48-year-old man. He was a Brown student. He was a Portuguese national, and his last known address was in Miami, Florida. That individual was identified as Claudio.
If you want to take a look, this is sort of the geography of it. The Brown murders, the two young students with great futures who were killed, and the others that were wounded. Well, that was the first act, and it took place there in the southern part of New England. That's about as south as you can be in New England, by the way. Well, not really. You can go down further in Providence, and it took place in a building that he had been a student in. And then 2 days later, after we saw all those pictures of him walking around, then 2 days later, it emerges that a professor in Brookline, which is there to the MIT murder, December 15th, 9 Gibb Street, Brookline, Massachusetts. He opens his door and he's shot and killed by a person who was a classmate of his something like 27 or 28 years ago. And then he goes off to a storage facility right over the border in New Hampshire, in Salem, New Hampshire, and puts his car there himself, whatever else, and does away with himself. And now we're left to figure out why the hell did he do all this? Whoa. I mean, let's face it. This is complicated and difficult, and Who the heck knows? We're going to see. We're going to find out, and we're going to find out if it's connected to the other horrible murders that took place. These are the young people that died, and the professor. Look at those wonderful smiles on Muhammad Aziz Umar Zokov and Ella Cook. Look at that. Look at those beautiful smiles. And look at the professor. He looks like an extraordinarily nice man, Nuno Loureiro. Obviously a brilliant man. And again, we're probably searching for putting the why together. And it will be, I believe, but you can't be sure of that, right? Right. Can't be sure of it. Well, I should also tell you that we have a new designate for a great cardinal who has resigned in New York, often described as America's cardinal, Cardinal Timothy Dolan. I consider myself a friend of his. I consider myself very, very fortunate to be a friend of his. He was a holy and great man with a personality bigger than life. I remember meeting his brothers when he was early on as a cardinal, and maybe he was still a bishop. And he said he'd very much like to go to a Yankee game with you. I said, yeah. He said, yeah, but I mean, does he drink beer? He said, drink beer. You could drink us under the table. The brother said. Yeah. He said he's a regular guy, except he's a lot holier than you and me.
You hear similar stories about the Pope.
Yeah. I don't know about the Pope. I'm not sure. The Pope says some things I like and some things I don't like, and he goes back and forth, and he's an American, but is he an American? I don't know. We got to see about the Pope. The Pope is my spiritual leader, faith and morals. I gotta listen to him. On politics, I don't have to listen to him at all. And this guy, he's gonna have to prove himself to me. We're gonna have to see. And I do think that Cardinal Dolan was wrong on immigrants. And the Catholic Church is not doing them a favor by taking all that money and bringing them all in and letting them get hurt. They're not. It's distorted and it's wrong. There was a point at which it was right, and there was a point at which it was justified. But there's a point now in which it's become abusive. And it's also a point at which we can rightfully ask, and don't get mad at me, how much does the money influence it? I mean, they get hundreds of millions for doing that. Right. And not only them, all the rest of the immigrant supporters who now over the last 4 years, encouraging Biden to do what he did, have flooded our country with terrorists, child abusers. We've gone from being a country that didn't have a tremendous amount of human trafficking to be the leading country in the world, all because of that, and with the help of the Christian denominations. I mean, at some point, something had to go off in your head to say, are we being used here? And did the vast amount of money blur that instinct? Sorry, but, love the Catholic Church. But it's a human institution. It's not Jesus Christ. It's his church on earth run by humans, which means it's going to commit sins and do bad things as well as great things. And being a Catholic doesn't mean you become an ignorant fool. It means you use what you were taught to in a very disciplined way, examine things from a logical and sensible and moral point of view, knowing that you're going to be wrong too. But none of that can take away from the fact that there was something very special about Cardinal Dolan. And I say to the Archbishop, who is now taking over, you got big shoes to fill, Babe. Woo. I mean, you do. It was really hard to replace Cardinal O'Connor. And Cardinal O'Connor was also, like Cardinal Dolan, much bigger than life. He's a great man, a strong man, a powerful man, a man of great intellect and a man of great love and a man of tremendous discipline, who didn't agree with me on everything and gave me some pretty damn good lectures as my cardinal. And nor did I agree with him on everything. I did on everything that I had to. He was hard to replace. And Dolan's hard to replace. Really, really hard to replace. So I wish the new Archbishop great credit, great luck and support. And I know God will guide him. And pretty soon he'll learn that New York is a lot better place than Chicago. And yeah, you can be a Cubs fan, but what good's that going to do you? You get one world championship in 100 years. I mean, at least the other guys knew he wasn't going to win. But the White Sox,
he's a White Sox.
Hey, that's not too much better either.
Well,
I mean, there is a team here called the Yankees, and Cardinal Dolan, he wouldn't admit it because he came from St. Louis, I think.
Yeah.
He wouldn't admit it. He used to go to Yankee Stadium all the time.
Oh, he probably loved it.
Oh, he really loved it. Yeah. He did. So Ukraine, I mean, wow.
Where do you start?
If you can figure out where we are on Ukraine, you're better than I am. So the European Union was going to use the Russian money to fund Ukraine because Ukraine can't afford another year and a half of war or 2 years of war.
Right.
Now, I don't know if they can't afford it because they can't afford it or they can't afford it because some of their people are stealing it.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of thieves in Ukraine. And we know around Zelensky is a group of thieves. And please, I don't want to make Zelensky's life any more difficult because I'm on his side. But Zelensky's, I don't know if he's a thief or he likes thieves, but he hangs around with them.
Right.
Well, corruption is like their national pastime over there. So,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, like in Russia, let's be fair.
Yeah.
The two most corrupt countries in the Western orbit. I mean, you can't compare it to Africa. I mean,
I don't know. I feel like they're more
no.
sophisticated and
They
more
are.
capable
They are.
of
There's
corruption
more money.
than in
There's
Africa.
more money to take, but in Somalia, there's nothing honest at all. I mean, you can find some honesty in Ukraine and Russia. You go to Somalia, I mean, there's a damn thing that's not. The whole country is completely effing corrupt.
Like they don't even make a PowerPoint presentation before they steal the money.
No reason to pretend.
Okay.
And they come here, and that's what the UN was filled with. The UN is filled with these countries that are prostitute countries. 100 of them. They come here and they steal and they rape their women and they beat their kids and they beat up cops. And when the cops come to try to help their women, they hurt the cops. And I mean, I had a terrible time with the United Nations. And I came to the conclusion, I began as a supporter in terms of the economy of New York, thinking that the UN is great for New York's international status as what I began calling the capital of the world. And by the time I was finished, I had come to the conclusion that we'd save a lot of money if we threw them out. I mean, they, in so many different ways.
And save the world a lot of pain.
Yeah. I mean, they, in many, many ways, they cost us a tremendous. First of all, we spend twice as much on their security as we're given by the federal government, which is really unfair.
Right.
And we do it for a very simple reason. We know if, God forbid, something happens, it's going to hurt us.
Yeah.
So, and plus, we're human beings, and we take pride in New York, and we don't. Every person that was hurt in New York hurt me, and hurt my people. So, I mean, sometimes we were guarding some of the worst people in the world, and I would say, and my cops are human. And I would sometimes sit with them and say, "Look, you got to keep them alive. If they want to kill them, let them do it someplace else,
Right.
not New York. We're not going to let anybody get assassinated here. I don't care how much you hate them or
Yeah.
whatever."
Yeah.
And we did. And there's no place that protects you more than New York. And that doesn't mean we can't fail. I mean, we have, but I don't know if we have in terms of protecting foreign dignitaries.
Yeah, I can't think of the
I don't remember.
Yeah.
At least that was not one of my failures. But in any event, we try real hard to keep them alive. But the amount of money that costs us is tremendous. Now, here's the worst part. The amount of money it costs us in terms of law enforcement, the cheating they do in restaurants, the cheating they do with real estate, the theft that they just do generally, the physical damage they do, the violent crimes they commit. And I tell you, they have a propensity for perversion that's scary. It's a den of thieves. It changes your whole. I mean, I had more crime coming out of there than I did some of them. Some of the big crime areas in New York, whether they were mafia or minority or whatever. I have no idea why we still. They haven't solved the war ever.
Yeah.
I mean, Korea ended up in a tie, which began the problems. And after that, I mean, Clinton at one point was asked why he wasn't using them in Eastern Europe. And he said, well, yeah, they never solved a war. That was Clinton, and that was 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I mean, they haven't. I mean, you look at all the wars that Trump has stopped. The UN hasn't helped one bit. They haven't helped in the Middle East. They haven't helped in Ukraine. They certainly gave us no help in Iraq either time. They had nothing to do with ending the Vietnam War. They had, it had nothing to do. They had nothing to do with ending the war in Afghanistan that the Russians conducted. Yeah, they got about 8 wars going on in Africa, and most of those countries are represented in the UN, and they spend their time here stealing. You tell me exactly why we have them, so that the China and Russia can get some kind of credibility for their propaganda. I don't see that our just drop it out would not affect a damn thing. Maybe it'd push us to try to start something different.
Right.
I mean, we got to take a very good look at the fact that China and Russia are strongly deepening their cooperation, and I know it troubles many people who agree with me on this, that the president seems to value his friendship with Khrushchev and Xi Jinping quite a bit. There's a strategy to that you've got to be able to talk to them, and you got to be able to deal with them, and you got to be able to get the best out of them possible. At the same time, you got to step back and say, these are two of the most evil people in the history of the world. I mean, I never met Xi Jinping, but I met Putin, and there wasn't a moment in which I wasn't aware of the fact that I was with a pathological murderer. Not a single moment of the 2 times that I met with him. And these 2 guys are trying to patch up their differences. And there was an article today about how they're working together, and it says, well, they have one big difference on North Korea. The Russians support North Korea, and the Chinese are worried about North Korea. They're worried that North Korea could make a mistake that would set their agenda. They don't want anybody setting their agenda. And they know Russia is, they know something we don't know about Russia. Russia's a little pissant. Yes, they have nuclear weapons, and yes, they can blow up the world, and that's about all they can do. They got an economy that is way below European Union.
And I don't want to say they're drunks, but you know.
Oh, they're drunks?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, but they sure drink a lot. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if Putin's a drunk.
Well, they yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Compared to the last one.
I never thought of Putin as being a drunk, but
Well, Gorbachev was.
He's
right?
not a Yeltsin.
Oh, Yeltsin. Sorry.
Yeltsin.
Fall over.
Yeah, and I remember the guy in Ukraine the first time I went. They used to have to put him in the hospital twice a year to
Detox.
detox. When I got there, he was detox, and I didn't want to meet him because McCain told me, "You don't want a picture with him." He chopped the head of a reporter off. I mean, these are
geez.
serious killers. And I don't know, maybe. But let's see what happens. Let's see what comes from being nice to them. So far, nothing has come
was gonna
from,
say, we've
from
seen that.
Ukraine. I have to say that. I mean, I take a totally different approach to Ukraine and think the guy should have been kicked in the balls on day one and then kicked again and kicked again and kicked again until he had no balls left. And that's the way you deal with Putin's. Immediately, the most serious sanctions should have been applied. Immediately, we should have been threatening rather than him threatening. And when Ukraine wanted to use missiles to bomb the hell out of them when they were bombing the hell out of Ukraine, we should have let them do it. And say, what the hell are you complaining about? You're bombing them. Stop bombing them, and Ukraine will stop bombing you.
Right.
Now we're at the point where we're trying to get Ukraine to give up Donetsk to them. There's no way to cut this, and I'm not going to do any spinning because it's too important. But I mean, you give up Donetsk, and you're risking another war real fast. Maybe as soon as Trump is gone. Maybe while Trump is there. Got to stand up to bullies.
Read that in the book once.
Isolationist or not, isolation doesn't make you a coward. So the U.S. apparently seems to have understood the criticism of being a little bit too cagey on Taiwan, particularly with all this discussion about what a good friend Xi Jinping is. And of course, Xi Jinping has only one objective in life, and it's to take Taiwan, which has worried a lot of people that we're not going to back Taiwan should China take it. So we did something very, very important. And I'm getting a feeling that there are two groups in the administration, the isolationist, pacifist isolationists who want to kiss up to Xi Jinping and Putin, and somewhat more hardliners who realize they only understand power. And I would say Rubio represents that group. So
yes, I agree.
So we did the largest arms sales we've ever done with Taiwan, which sends a signal much bigger than anybody's words.
How big is that?
Oh my God, 11.1 billion.
Hey. Oh man.
Yeah. The arms that we sent them could eat well. I would not recommend Xi Jinping take lightly the idea that he's going to invade Taiwan and Taiwan is going to do tremendous damage to him. If he thought taking Ukraine was tough, whoop. Now this comes after the president kind of lecturing or the new prime minister of Japan in her taking on China. I think we should encourage her rather than lecture her. And some criticism that we were being a little bit too friendly with China, particularly given their intentions with Taiwan. Now you got to understand, Japan has a much better claim on Taiwan than China does. It's really part of their archipelago, and it has never been Chinese. It only became Chinese in the late 1940s when the Chinese communists defeated the Chinese nationalists under Chiang Kai-shek. And Chiang Kai-shek escaped to Taiwan. That's when Chinese took over Taiwan. which was an indigenous population that considered themselves more related to Japan.
Yeah,
than
it
China.
culturally doesn't. And now that you say it, culturally,
They hate China.
They line up so much more with
They
the Japanese
hate
or
China.
even the Koreans.
So does, by the way, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and Malaysia. They all hate China, which the president beautifully demonstrated when he went there to meet Xi Jinping and got minerals from all of them. Like right in China's face. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, when you're an industrious person, you know, who values like individual liberty, you tend to dislike governments like China.
Yeah. Well, this is what I said. This is what I said to the head of the Communist Party in Beijing, and he threw me out. I said, he said, you know, we really are entitled to get Taiwan. And I said, well, maybe if you were a democracy, and you'd have a chance, because they fought a long time to become a democracy. When the Chinese first came into Taiwan, they became a dictator. Chiang Kai-shek was a dictator, just like, not as bad as Mao, but like that. And the indigenous Taiwanese, with the new Chinese that came in over a 15-year period, had great conflicts, and then they worked out a democracy. And now they have a democracy, and they have one of the 10 or 15 greatest economies in the world.
Well,
in that little island.
I can't speak to their education system.
They're buying
precisely,
$11.1 billion in arms from us.
but it seems like they can design and engineer some pretty complex stuff.
Well, they have the
and
best
build.
ships in the world.
Exactly.
The best in the
They're
world.
doing
And
something right.
they're giving them to us.
Yeah.
I really think a combination of the United States, Israel, Taiwan, Japan, and the Philippines. You don't need anybody else. I don't know. Germany could help. If
You're
they
putting a
straighten
lot
us
of stock in the Philippines.
out. No, I'm putting a lot of stock in Japan, straighten them out.
Yeah. The Philippines, that's an entire different landscape. We don't need to
it
get
needs
into
a lot of
that.
work. Maybe
Yeah.
I should have kept Philippines out, but I see them as a reclamation project,
Sure.
which could be helped greatly by a very, very strong Japan. But I put a lot of confidence in Japan, and I really do think the new leader of Japan loves us, and I think she could be entitled to a little more love.
Well, and talk about industrious. That's why I think that the Taiwanese line are much more in line with Japan in that regard.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, no doubt about it. Lyle Morris, a senior fellow at Asia Society Policy Institute, has been a critic of Trump for being too close to Xi Jinping. Morris said no arms sale would likely have sent a worse message, meaning to China. Chinese Foreign Minister spokesman Guo Jiakun predicted arming the island would backfire on the U.S. and warned against squandering its people's hard-earned money to buy weapons and turning Taiwan into a powder keg.
Oh, he knows what to say, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, powder keg for you, pal, when you try to invade.
Right.
So
But are
One
we
of the
squandering?
things-
We're not squandering if they're buying.
no,
them from
they're
us.
buying it,
Yeah.
and they are
It's
already
actually a good
they
thing.
are already a very, very sophisticated military power.
Yeah, they
This-
probably have the chips already there.
This is not even Ukraine, and it doesn't have the corruption Ukraine has. It's a much better government. It's a much more efficient, good government.
and surrounded by one of the most tried and tested fortifications, which is a big sea. So it does make any assault on their territory much more difficult than that of Ukraine or any other land adversary.
The real question is, would China try an amphibious landing or a bombing? I think they would do a bombing, which is why the defense that we had for Israel is what we need for them.
Well, certainly that's a portion of it, but they will have to eventually do like almost a
An
D-Day style.
amphibious landing, I think they wouldn't make it off the beach.
But I've seen they have what they've been building are these.
Yeah, they're building these long piers where they can almost walk in.
And it connects to the highway system.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, the most convenient invasion.
Except if you put a rocket in the middle of it.
Exactly. And that's like things are only effective until they're not blown up.
Right.
So,
So it's going to be interesting, but Now, China is doing something that they're getting great credit for in the article in the Wall Street Journal, who every once in a while, I wonder what side they're on, says that China has outfoxed us. And what they're doing is, because we cut them off so much from valuable items because of the tariffs, they're going back to being, you remember when Made in China was a joke?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, Made in China, boop, Made in China, lighter, Made in China.
They still make some stuff like that.
Well, this is what they relied on this year. So they've been selling shit to Europe, $1 trillion worth. It's their biggest year for exports, and it's all crap. A tsunami of cheap stuff into Europe. And they're saying that China outfoxed the United States' efforts to isolate Beijing with shipments to Europe and Southeast Asia, more than offsetting the nearly 20% contraction of the U.S. So they're making up in money what they're losing for their high-level exports with cheap shit. But it kind of begs the question that when you start going back to cheap shit,
They're not retooling the factories for the next thing.
So where's the good stuff coming from? The people who hate them. Vietnam. Why do you think we did the trade treaty with Vietnam? Laos, Cambodia.
Yeah, right.
What's going to happen is they became China moved up, right? Made in China was a joke, then Made in China, and these other countries became the Made in Chinas. You get it from Vietnam, you get it from Cambodia, you get it from Laos, Now they're starting to become more successful, and okay, I understand that the Wall Street Journal is much smarter than me, and I'm just a stupid ex-mayor. But I have a feeling that those other countries can jump over China if China continues to sell shit.
Well,
Right.
do you remember? Do you remember in Back to the Future? There's a famous scene where the professor pulls out a part and he says, "Oh, that's why, made in Japan." And
Yeah, made in Japan.
And in the short time span since he had traveled back,
that was the 80s.
yeah, Michael J. Fox goes, "Doc, all the
I
best
remember
stuff's
that.
made in Japan."
I remember that.
It's like, great Scott.
I remember that. Made in Japan, made in China, and we would be. I don't know. That's the direction China wants to go. And let's take a short break. Sell a few things that's not cheap that are really, really good stuff, like my coffee, which is fabulous, or your contribution to T2T.org, which you better make. And we're going to go crazy on you right before Christmas to do that.
And with that, we'll take a short.
Rudy, you were smiling in your sleep.
I know the perfect gift for Christmas. Go to Rudy.coffee. U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost. cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly, where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Welcome back to America's Mayor Live. And here we are. And we have Brown still behind us, but for a while we had Palm Beach. Well, next week is Christmas. And Christmas is, I believe, and there will be a theological dispute about this, that Christmas is the most important day of the year in the history of the world. And of course, there are people who would say, well, Easter is when Jesus rose from the dead, or possibly Good Friday when Jesus died for our sins. But here's why I say that Christmas is the most important. That wouldn't have happened had he not been born, and had not an extraordinary event take place that has something to do with why Western civilization is the most important and the most beautiful and the most wonderful thing that ever happened to humanity. Humanity. Jesus became man. God became man. Now, I want you to contemplate that for a moment. What that means about the importance of humanity. Why a Governor Hochul, who has now signed an assisted killing bill, doesn't seem to understand Western civilization, because she doesn't understand the sacred nature of human life, and how, unless there are extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary circumstances, you can't touch it because it's beyond you. It belongs to God. You didn't make you, God made you. So you don't have the right to take a life, and you don't have a right to take your own life. You were put here to live, not to kill yourself. And sure, you have the concept of defensive murder, which it has to exist. Otherwise, innocent and decent people could just be wiped out. But beyond that, where there's absolute reasonable fear that you or someone else's life is going to be taken, you just have no right to touch human life. And that's what the birth of Jesus, the birth of Jesus took humanity and lifted it. So the way I look at it, Western civilization has lifted humanity way above any of the religions of we used to call the Orient, or they were all wonderful and beautiful with one exception, but they don't value human life the way we do. Because the whole process of the development of Western civilization, whether you want to start it with the Greeks or with the Jews, right, is about the importance of the human being. The Greeks, it was the importance of the human intellect, right? That's why they spent so much time with philosophy, with why are we here? What are we doing here? How should we live? How should we govern? How should we deal with each other ethically? How should we? Because there's something special about us, our mind. They don't have minds, those beautiful animals that we love so much, that we have. They don't have consciousness. They don't write. They don't read. And then you had the spiritual nature of it with this very special relationship the Jewish people had with God. Man was so important that God would talk to him, like he did to Abraham, or like he did to Moses. And then man became so important that God became man. Wow. And then all the teachings that emerged from that. That's where, when we say we teach the humanities, that's where the whole concept of teaching the humanities came from. Didn't come from Asia, didn't come from Africa, didn't come from Arctic or the other one, didn't come from Australia. It came from Western civilization. So that's what we're going to celebrate on, when is it? Thursday of next week? What day is Christmas next week?
Well, it's definitely the 25th this year.
Yeah, I know it's the 25th.
Okay.
I'm just going the day of the week we're working on.
Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. So on Thursday next week, that's what we're going to celebrate, and that's what we're going to get ready for.
Yeah.
So this weekend, I want you to do a little reading. I want you to do a little reading. I want you to do a little reading about the prophecies of Jesus in the Bible. Maybe listen to Handel's Messiah, the first part. The Messiah really was written for Easter, but it begins with the birth of Jesus. So it's a wonderful 40 minutes or 30 minutes devoted to the scriptures about Jesus, or the best thing ever written in music about the birth of Jesus, Bach's Christmas Oratorio.
And then I know we haven't seen it personally, but for a family-friendly, high production value story of David, Angel Studios has a new animated David.
Well, I haven't seen.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's amazing.
Who does the House of David? Could you look that up? Because we are in the middle. I'm up to, with a few misses here and there, the part after David slays Goliath, but before he becomes king. And it is not as good as The Chosen. Nothing is as good as The Chosen, but it's really good and highly recommended. But this is human beings, not animation. House of David.
House of David is actually, from what I understand, it's Amazon Prime, their studios that did it.
Well, it's fabulous. I don't know if Amazon Prime or not. They get kudos for it. But the other one you're telling us about, David, is an animation, correct?
Yes,
and it's
sir.
the story of David from the time he was a child until he killed Goliath and then became king of the Jews.
Yeah, this looks so
and then
cool.
does it go into his degradation at the end?
This gets so cool. Oh, and go to their website, Angel Studios.
Oh, I love Angel Studios. Come on. How can you not love Angel Studios? You got to be an animal not to love Angel Studios. And what's better than The Chosen?
They're kind of up against a behemoth. A lot of the bigger production studios are trying to pressure.
Let's get involved in this.
They're trying to pressure theaters into not showing this.
Why? Is it not good?
Well, I think they're scared.
I mean, their production values are fabulous.
I think they're scared that it's going to be the best animated feature and it's going to beat Disney.
If there's been an actor in the last 10 years that's done a better job of playing Jesus, then, tell me his name.
Oh, gosh, I know who you're talking
about.
about.
What a wonderful man. I love him. I mean, I actually think he's Jesus.
Oh, that's such a powerful experience.
I've been talking to Jesus for years. Now, let me make clear, he doesn't talk back to me.
Jonathan Romy?
Yeah. Man, what a guy. I wish we could get him on.
What pressure, though? How can
I'm not
you
sure
imagine?
I'm not sure I wouldn't be
imagine the
intimidated
pressure?
talking to him.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the pressure of playing Jesus? That's got to be like crazy.
He's going to stop after this year because it's too much. And
It
he's
would
very
be.
religious. Have you ever heard him give a sermon?
Oh my gosh, I'd love to. I have.
I did on tape. I mean, on video. He's fabulous.
Good, yeah.
He's fabulous. He's fabulous giving sermons.
I'd probably cry.
What this guy has done for converting people is almost as much as Charlie Kirk, who I think should be Man of the Year. I was in church last week, and you know how you and I, Ted, when we were in church, sometimes we take these little sneaky pictures to show the number of people in church. I had my camera with me. I was embarrassed. Everybody's looking at me. But I went to the 12 o'clock mass. Usually the most crowded one is 10:30. That's the high mass. It was sung beautiful, nicer. But the 12:30 mass is quite beautiful also. That doesn't matter if it's a high mass or a low mass. It's still the same thing. It was It was really, Ted, it was hard to find a seat.
Yeah.
Now, I've been going to St. Edward's on and off during the season you go to Palm Beach for 20 years.
Right.
And that's the church that John F. Kennedy, the Kennedy family would go to. Although that's not the last church. There's a great monument here in Palm Beach at St. Anne's Church in West Palm, which was the last place John Kennedy went to mass before he was assassinated.
Right.
And I swear to God, if you live through that, which I did, and you look at that and there aren't tears in your eyes, which might happen right now, there's something wrong with you. But in any event, the church was full.
Right. We were there.
The church was full.
It was. And that was the late mass too. So I bet
That
you
was
the
the
early
late
one.
mass. Usually, I can remember 10 years ago half full.
And now it's
And I can remember a year ago about 3/4 full, maybe less. And now it's completely full. And I've been noticing that I go to different churches, like I go to Latin masses too. And I went to a Latin mass right the weekend after Charlie's assassination. I went to a Latin mass. So I can't judge it. I hadn't been to that Latin mass before, but the place was packed. Now it could be because it was a Latin mass, but I talked to a lot of people and a lot of them were there because of Charlie. And there's no doubt it's happening all over the United States. And it isn't just Catholic churches. It's happening. And it's interesting because Charlie wasn't a Catholic. He was an evangelical. But I think it's happening in evangelical churches too. And I applaud that. I mean, I think there's a way evangelicals have of relating to Jesus that us Catholics could learn.
Oh, you got to come to in Southeast Michigan, Howell, Michigan. You come to a revival tent we got going on, and you'll have a
come
blast.
on. I love that. I used to tell people who wanted to be like really. There are people who I used to teach, sort of help teach, public speaking and giving summation. It's the best thing to do is to go give a sermon like in a black church or an evangelical church. You know what happens? You let yourself out.
Yeah, that's Elvis. Elvis got
you let
a lot
yourself
of his
out, and you become a
inspiration
much
from that.
greater speaker. I had a great friend who since died that once wanted me to become a better speaker by taking my clothes off and giving a speech, and I told him to go to hell.
What?
But he was right. There's a certain thing about that. We're afraid of our bodies. We don't. There's a whole thing about fear of speaking that you have to learn. And I know all about it. So, because I turned myself into a much better speaker. I used to be like very rigid and very lawyer-like, and Roger Ailes helped me make that change from being. He said, "This is great for the United States District Court in the Southern District of New York, and fabulous for the Supreme Court. I bet you did a good job when you argued in the Supreme Court." I said, "Roger, I did." Yeah, well, this is shit for politics, pal. His question was this: he put me in front of a camera like this. When I was running for mayor. And he said to me, "What would you do about education if you were the mayor?" Well, I have a 5-point program on education. First, I would make sure that there was an ability to evaluate the educators so that we could improve their performance. Secondly, I'd be in favor of choice because I believe that parents would be better evaluators of education than anyone. And I finished my 5 points, which I got in 2 minutes. And he went and Roger, who is now deceased, and oh, what a wonderful guy. He went like this. That is an A+ in Education 101. I go, "Thank you, Roger." And an F- in politics. I go, "Why, Roger?" He said, you're used to being in court, right? And you're used to you were a prosecutor, so you're used to logical arguments to juries. Even emotion a little bit, but logical. What they convict on logical arguments, they acquit on emotion, right?
right.
Court of Appeals, you win with logical argument. Oh, you're like a real winner. Supreme Court. Politics, here's the way you start that. None of this, my 3-point plan, my 4-point. Who gives a shit about your 3-point plan, your 4-point? Here's how you begin every time. From now on until the end of the campaign, every time you hear education, here are the words that start. I'm a father, and I have 2 children. The most important thing to me is their education. And when I become mayor, the most important thing to me is going to be the education of your children. He said, "You do that. I don't give a shit what you say."
Exactly. Exactly.
Now that's a little bit exaggerated.
Well,
He does give a shit because Roger was very intellectual also. about what I say. But he said, that's when you bring in choice, and that's when you bring in evaluation, and that's when you bring in holding them accountable, because they realize it comes from deep concern or about crime. Now, here you are, the biggest crime fighter, in history of New York since Dewey or maybe ever. You're running for mayor, and you got a 90% approval rating on that. But as a politician, they're wondering. So they ask you about crime, and now you start doing, well, we should have the career criminal program, and we should deal with domestic violence, and we should have the. He said, no, you'd be getting this way. Our very existence turns on our safety. We might as well be Red China or Russia if we're going to live with criminals determining our future and our neighborhoods. So what I want to do is return to you a freedom of safety and a feeling that you can use this city and you can be safe. That's my goal, and that's what I want to attempt to do. He said that you begin with what your objective is. And this is kind of fooling people. That is your objective. That is your objective. Or tell them, look, I've lived in this city all my life, and I know the fear that people have of walking the streets. My close friend was beaten almost to death. Make a connection with them. It's a second, and 2 seconds, 10 seconds, 12 seconds. You can go get as philosophical and as theoretical as long as it's honest as you want, because they want that too. They don't just want some emotional babbler, but they want the first. Now, here's what's happened to us. All we have now are emotional babblers. I'm for affordability. Okay, now how are we going to do affordability? We're going to have government-owned grocery stores. We're going to have rent control, all of which have proven to make people impoverished. So what I'm trying to say is the communication has to be two things. There's got to be the feeling that you care about people and you love them, and your solutions come from your loving them. But they're really solutions that make sense and can withstand critical analysis. That's the combination.
And you have to be mindful of their attention span and what's going to sit with them after it.
Yes.
And if you want one thing to sit with them, it's exactly those two things you just led with, right? It's those leading statements or propositions or overarching themes. Because the 3-point plan, that's already too many points for people.
Yeah.
So
5. It was 5
yeah.
points.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That's why
and TikTok's making our attention spans crazy.
A+ in education and F in politics. So a couple of things we got to get in really quickly. Maduro, Ted, and Stephen, what the hell are we doing with Maduro? Are we going to get rid of this guy or not?
Yeah, and when?
I mean, he's been hanging around for too long. He's starting to annoy me. He sent 3 boats through to Europe that are not on the list, and he had a protection for them, and we didn't do anything to them. So I don't understand this. We didn't do anything to them, but there have been some boats we've taken out that are not on the list. So it looks like we're afraid of their protection.
I don't know. I think it's a matter of when, not if, obviously, and it's up to us, and more particularly President Trump, and that's a very good position to be in, right? So we can choose when that happens.
3 escorted boats carrying, how about this? Urea. Hey, there he is clapping. You know what that means, jerk off? It means urine, you big jerk. Jackass. You know you're a stupid bus driver. Nothing wrong with bus drivers, but you're a stupid freaking idiot. Killer. Petroleum, coke, and other oil-based products to Asia. None of the vessels that left with the Venezuelan Navy surrounding them were on the U.S. sanctions list. On the other hand, we're doing a blockade. And a blockade means you can't get anything in and you can't take anything out. We should have blown them all out of the
You
water.
almost can't fit anything in between.
We should have blown them all out of the water. If we wanted this guy to know how serious we are and we wanted him to leave. We said there's a blockade, jerk off. We should have given him a warning, turn back, we're going to blow you out of the water. And then we should have blown him out of the water. He made a point here about how serious we are. We should not have let him make that point. The illegitimate Maduro regime is using oil from the stolen oil fields to finance themselves. Drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder, and kidnapping. This is what we said. This is what our position is. Well, that's what this is doing. This is helping. This is going to bring revenue to the government that's killing us. Blow them out of the water if you're serious. Don't let them, because they got their shitty little Navy hanging around, stop you. I mean, you got a fleet there that probably would have defeated Japan before Pearl Harbor. I don't know what the hell we're doing, but we're going this way. We're going that way. We want to get rid of this guy or not? If we don't get rid of this guy, we take a big loss because we made such a big deal of getting rid of him. And there's every reason to get rid of him. He's a miserable, atheistic, communist murderer. He's the biggest reason why China could have a base here in America if they don't have one already at one of the other little shitty South American countries. We're turning South America right wing. We got to do that with Colombia, and we're moving ahead with that Petro idiot. So come on, let's show them. Peace through strength means using the strength. We did blow up another drug boat yesterday. Yeah. And we got 26 now. We've killed 99. The Democrats are all in favor of the drug boats.
Right.
House Republicans rejected a pair of Democratic-backed resolutions to stop Trump from blowing up the drug boats. I get maybe you think they're getting a cut?
You can't make this up. Are
You think they're getting a cut?
That's interesting.
I wonder if the sharks are like getting high too.
You think they're
about
getting a
that?
cut? I mean, why the hell would you care if we blow up drug boats?
Right.
So
It's
FBI,
the only-
there you go.
Well, because it's making drugs expensive. They want the drugs.
It's almost the only explanation. That's
You think some of their staffers are coming in and say, "Hey, boss, we got to spend a lot more money than we used to."
Or it's like, I got a late night coming up.
It is a Democrat. They are Democrats. I mean, the president must have made them very, very happy when he lowered the classification for marijuana.
Did he, or is he thinking about it?
He did it.
He did it? Oh.
That's my understanding.
Mr. President, a very big mistake. You're operating on information that's 10 years old. Every report in the last 5 to 6 years has been uniformly damning with regard to cannabis and marijuana, including a very recent one from an Ivy League institution that says that which I have known for 25 years, the medical use of marijuana is ridiculous. There are many medicines much safer than marijuana, particularly with regard to impact on deterioration of the brain, that can control pain than marijuana. Now, I know there are people that say, I need my marijuana, it's only marijuana. Believe me, there are 45 other painkillers that'll be much better, much more effective. I don't know about less addictive, although marijuana is extraordinarily addictive. That's another big myth that's been blown up, that marijuana isn't addictive. But the main thing about marijuana that we didn't realize, that we're beginning to realize, even in comparison to heroin and cocaine that are much more addictive, it has a peculiar impact on the brain and on a portion of the brain that has to do with violence. And the younger you take it, the more damaging it is. The greater the strength, the more damaging it is, and the more closely associated it is to violence. So, Mr. President, you made a terrible mistake in reducing the classification. If anything, we should be getting tougher on marijuana. And just go take a look at what's happening to Colorado and Washington. And those people are walking around like this.
Yeah, they have a lot of issues.
Raiding Mar-a-Lago, the report, which you should pay attention to, makes it very, very clear what we knew from the very beginning. The Department of Justice had absolutely no legal basis to raid Mar-a-Lago. There was no suggestion he was violating the law, no attempt to violate the law, only cooperation by his attorneys. And maybe next week we'll have Christina Bobb on to explain this. But the significance of this is monumental. This comes from an article by Kimberly A. Strassel, who's a fabulous reporter. And the FBI objected to raiding Mar-a-Lago right up to the end. And a Department of Justice attorney named Donald Toscas said on a call the day before that he frankly doesn't give a damn about the optics. And a DOJ contact to see if we can get it some other way will not go well. Because the FBI, to the very end, was saying, all we have to do is ask our lawyers for it, and they'll give it to us. They haven't been non-cooperative. But of course, here's the problem with the FBI. They didn't bring any of that out. This had to be dug out, which means they were a bought and paid for organization. But it's quite clear that this is completely illegal and completely un-American. But what's new about the Biden people? What do you think of the Trump Kennedy Center, boys?
Love it.
It's got a great ring to it.
It does. And
You think it'll be better now?
it's already better from what
Yeah,
I
it
hear.
is.
I will
They've
say
been
I have
working on it.
never.
They've
I don't
been
think I've
working on
ever stepped foot
You know
in
what
that
they
place.
need?
I
They
love
need me to Placido Domingo did their opera there for quite some time, and it was very good. But since he's left, they could use a little improvement in their opera.
Yeah, well, I'll say this
I
as
went
a
to
venue.
a great. I didn't tell you this, but the last weekend or the weekend before, I don't remember now. I went to see La Boheme with my daughter. It's a tradition that my daughter and I have of going to the opera every Christmas, and we went to see La Boheme. Although we've seen La Boheme before. Now, why do we go to see La Boheme? Because it was the production of Franco Zeffirelli that was about 35 years old, and the Metropolitan Opera about 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, did away with the Zeffirelli production with some other jerk-off production, which I had taken her to see once, and I've seen it 2 other times. It's like it's like going from a color movie to a black and white movie.
Right.
And it's okay. And of course, the singers make the opera, but you're saying to yourself, where's that great Cafe Mamou scene? And where's the beautiful snowfall?
That's why we get awards for production design and costumes.
Zeffirelli's been brought back. He's been brought back. They did 7 productions with it. I went to see the second to last one. It was fabulous. But then everybody sitting there with me is saying, and here I'm very upset because I think they may have finished already. You should see they brought back his Turandot. Now, his Turandot is out of this world. And by the way, the president's favorite aria is from Turandot, Nessun Dorma.
And so we have this coming up at the Kennedy Center? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we got to bring some of this down to the Kennedy Center.
It works for me. But
Some of those Zeffirelli productions. Now, they'd have to be, the Met is like a third bigger than the Kennedy Center. The Met stage is a third big.
Okay.
Maybe more.
Does the Met have an outdoor area that
Yeah,
you
sure,
go
sure.
to
They
during
both
the?
do.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I was going to say that is one of the magical things
But
about
also
the
the
Kennedy Center.
Met Met goes down about 3 stories.
Where are the acoustics? How would you compare them?
It's just a fabulous.
Which
are better?
Yeah,
Met.
yeah, I would imagine so.
And I'll tell you why. The Met is a miracle.
Money.
No. They did money on the Avery Fisher Hall, which is right across, right catty corner to the Kennedy Center, and the acoustics are terrible. They never worked.
Huh.
Somehow it's a little bit of luck. But the Metropolitan Opera acoustics are unreal when you consider it sits 4,000 people and there is no amplification.
Yeah.
I went there the other day and a week ago just to and I was sitting in the like really good seats, but I was back. Wow, it's so much better when they amplify. But then you have to have a voice that you can throw up to the top.
Yes.
And that's why people like Placido Domingo and the Luciano, the greatest of all. Luciano not only had this beautiful lyric tenor voice, he had something that lyric tenors never have: the ability to project. He could project the way a dramatic tenor could project, which means he could get you in the back row 2 miles away.
Like you got a motor in that diaphragm.
Oh my God, the man, maybe because he was so heavy, I don't know. They could take that chest and he could get that C note up to the
Well, and
back.
some people, the muscle's just
Placido
bigger.
was just as strong and he could get back there too. And his voice was beautiful, but it was still a dramatic tenor. He couldn't hit the C quite as perfectly as Luciano. So we'll play a few of them for Christmas because some of Luciano's Christmas music is unreal. And if you want to find out how great Luciano was, we should interview our friend Bocelli.
Yeah.
Who will tell you, yeah, he was the greatest tenor of all. So let's get you a couple more things you really need to know. Gaza, what the hell's going on in Gaza? We got a peace in Israel, right? Right?
Yep.
Well, we got them killing each other.
Yes.
Well, it's sort of like we want to say we have peace, so we don't have to have war, but there's still a lot of straightening out to do. The Hamas will not give up their arms.
Surprise.
And until Hamas gives up their arms, we don't have an end to this. And meanwhile, we're not saying much, but Israel is killing them. And I would say, Bibi, go at it big time, huh? Yeah. Hamas doesn't belong on the earth because their whole goal is to kill people. I'm sorry, they're not even worthy of being included in anything decent. Gaza Strip peace process falters as Hamas digs in. Do not allow them to dig in, particularly if that means they're going to put up more of these tunnels.
Right.
Mondami had to get rid of one of his Jew haters today, who actually worked for de Blasio, and no one knew what a big Jew hater she was. Her name is Catherine Almonte da Costa. These are her former posts that de Blasio ignored to hire her, and so did Jew-hating Mondami.
Wow.
Money-hungry Jews. That was in January 2011. Far Rockaway train is filled with goddamn Jews, June 2012. Tweeting about money, that's all Jews care about. Now she says these statements are not indicative of who I am. I'm the mother of Jewish children. She worked, well, I don't know. Well, then go be their mother and get out of public life because we don't trust you.
Yeah,
okay?
sounds like you got some issues to deal with.
Yeah. There are a lot of good psychiatrists wherever the hell you live in New York. I mean, they make a fortune because of all the screwed up people there. Best place to be a psychiatrist is in New York.
Washington, D.C.
That's true, but they don't even go. They're too arrogant to go to psychiatrists. Also, she also hits my buttons because she hates the police. Effing police. I was referring to the NYPD piggies. Defund the NYPD by $1 billion, which they did, by the way. Do you know? I mean, this is all really ridiculous. And Adams never restored it. De Blasio took $1 billion out of the police department, never been put back. We're still operating on about 4,000 cops less than we should. And this communist is going to go into it without it. And Adams getting all this credit for, but he never put the cops back. Rest in peace, Norman Podhoretz. I love Norman. He was a great voice at a time in which we had to make a massive switch during the Reagan era from the ridiculous left-wing government that we were and the enabler of communism to understanding what it meant to have a government of values. And Norman died. He died at a very, he was in his 90s. And his son is a great writer and columnist also, and a great man. But it wouldn't be right to let this go by without thanking Norman for his contribution. He showed us what it means to confront the truth and make changes when we have to. And so what about football this weekend before we tell them all to go see Dr. Maria right now?
Right. A big Packer Bears game tomorrow night in Chicago.
Packers and Bears?
Yes. And the college football playoffs start next week, I believe.
So is Kansas City out?
Yes, they are out.
You got to see what happens when you don't support Trump.
Yes.
But I think the poor quarterback who got injured does support Trump, and his wife.
Right.
It's that stupid Swifty Pifty Kelsey who does it.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm over her.
How about him?
I don't really.
Can he still catch, or does he get all? Is he thinking about all the money from Swifty?
Well,
Yes.
the content that's going to come from their divorce is going to
They
make $1
haven't
billion.
married yet. They haven't married yet.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm assuming that that's just part of the.
So what you want to do is see. I can't do divorces anymore because I'm disbarred because of Biden. I was thinking, I could do their wedding because I can do weddings, but that wouldn't be worth it.
No,
I'd rather
no.
do their divorce and make a fortune on their divorce. Either
Yeah.
side, right?
Yeah. They'll
You think-
probably have a prenup, honestly.
Well, you think she's setting him up for one of her songs?
Oh yeah, this whole thing, man.
How terrible it is that he left her or she left him.
Oh yeah.
What are her songs about usually? I don't know
This
anything
has been
about her.
focus group.
Are they
probably.
usually about her getting jilted or her leaving somebody?
I'm not an expert to be
You know,
honest.
her
with you.
song, supposedly her fame comes from
like
her
breaking
songs
up,
about
like
breaking up.
bad breakup.
But who does the breaking up? The guy or her? That would be very indicative.
Ted's the expert here.
Ted, what do you say?
I wouldn't know. I would not be the expert on that.
Well, comment.
You're not.
We'll
You're
look
not.
at the
Well, we're going
comments
to be
if
an
you-
expert by next week. We're going to find out why Taylor Swift breaks up so much. Is it Taylor or is it Swift? I mean, is it Taylor or is it the guy?
The guy.
I think it's
Look at
her probably. Just.
And what do we
just a
think the
guess.
odds are that she and Kelsey now marry since she's a has-been now?
Well, we'll send them good.
Who's going to be available? I mean, they're not going to get married until the spring because they assumed he's going to be in the playoffs.
Right.
But he got plenty. Taylor, he's got plenty of time to get married now. He ain't going to be doing nothing in a week or so, right?
Right. Isn't that amazing? No playoffs.
Yeah, Kelsey, you're not going to be catching no passes.
No Taylor Swift. Man.
They'll
you
do a dial test
And
on
you
when
all
the
can
best
go
time to
make
marry
fun
is.
of President Trump as much as you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what?
Tell
He's in
people-
the presidency and you're not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to be looking for is Taylor in the audience
Yeah.
or whatever.
All that free
Last time they did that, you got booed, Taylor. Remember?
Yeah, they said they had to stop.
Maybe
showing it.
you made your mistake by getting all involved in politics. Why don't you just write songs about guys leaving you or you leaving guys?
Yeah. And on that note,
And on that note, from an opera lover, let me tell you what, you don't have much of a voice. Okay. So
and the college football
Pray.
playoffs did start.
for the people of Israel and for the people of Ukraine and for the people of Iran, these are the people that are really under fire. Oh my goodness, the Jewish people are all over the world. Pray for them. Pray for them. They're our brothers and sisters. And pray for us, Americans, greatest country on earth. Pray for us that we understand that we're the greatest country on earth, that we embrace that and we understand the responsibilities of that. And pray for our president so that he makes wise and sensible decisions. He's an extraordinary man, but he needs your help. So we'll be back next week. It'll be a great week as we lead up to Christmas. And We'll be here in case anything happens over the weekend. So go to right now,
Lindell TV.
go to Lindell TV, watch Dr. Maria. She got a great show. Then you come back to us at 7 on Lindell TV on Monday and at 8 on X. And you can be on X either time. God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply